Cybernation Uncensored.
Hello and welcome, explorers, to yet another episode of Star Trek Adventures Flight Beyond the Veil. I am your Game Mistress Winter, and you can find me at gmistresswinter on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and over at my channel, Mistress Winter's Court, on Monday nights. I am very excited to get into yet another session of Star Trek and to see where the USS Parallax goes and what kind of shenanigans and exciting drama that the crew gets into this week. So, on that note, let's go ahead and introduce or reintroduce our crew. If you've never been here before, then they're completely new to you. If you're a regular, then it's nice to be reacquainted. Let's go ahead and start with Juicy. Wonderful. And I already see that we have audience throwing -2s to you. So we have one from Cold Spider, so that's pretty awesome. So make sure to bank that, and we'll touch on that later. Oh. Not again. Okay. How about now? Oh, you know what it is? I forgot to change the audio for Zoom.
Explain it.
There we go. Okay. Sorry, go ahead and reintroduce yourself, Juicy.
Hi, I'm Juicy Garland, a Boston area drag queen on most days, and a super nerd, and you can find me on Twitter at Juicy Garland and on Instagram at juicy.garland. I'm in boy mode tonight because life happens, and I will be playing Lieutenant Dupre, our science officer.
Thank you so much. And Jesse.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming back. I'm just Jessie D, longtime Trekkie, first-time STA player. You can find me over on Hive at just Jessie D or on Tumblr at just-Jessie-D. Tonight I'm playing Lieutenant Commander Tellen Sull, first officer on the USS Parallax.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yes, an extra shout out to our audience who are always quick on the draw with technical issues. All right. How about Anita?
Hello, everybody. I'm Anita. I'm a ttrpg streamer, graphic designer, producer, all about weird person in the space. You can usually find me on Twitter at Critical Misses or at Panita. And I'm just glad to be here playing your captain this evening, Mira Drell.
Wonderful.
And I don't know if we can do this, but I just redeemed a +2 for the next roll. The GM can hand that out to whoever she wants. For the drama.
For the drama, yes.
Because we're all about the drama.
Yes, good. Thank you. And Twisting.
Greetings, everybody. I'm Twisting Curses here on Discord, and only on Discord. And it has been a super long week, and I've been looking forward to this ever since last last session, and let's get to it.
Yes, I think we shall. So last time on Flight Beyond the Veil, our crew chased after some of their own who had made off with a runabout because they were going to be found out. At least that's what the assumption was, as the Parallax chased down their errant crew members into a very volatile cloud in which they had to rescue them and avoid being destroyed themselves. The crew was brought back aboard and subsequently thrown in the brig until it could be determined what mental state they are all in. Growing concerns over this strange mutation that manipulates the minds of those it affects is causing unease and worry among the crew. You have narrowed it down to this pervasive signal, sourceless but prevalent, that is causing people to change. Now, the task ahead was to create a countermeasure against this signal, and as it happens, a very large fold ship had been cruising by, and the Parallax is stalking it. But to what end, we shall find out tonight. That is where we start. The Parallax is drifting, cruising in the wake of this fold ship. Captain, your orders.
Maintains pursuit at a safe distance. Make sure they don't see us. Keep our scanners at full alert. Kind of feels like we're following the tiger back to its lair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
No,
so
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No. I'm done. You go for it.
Sure. The large oblong ship that resembles a big metal stingray among the stars is cruising at a good warp, with you just trailing behind it. It's not in any hurry. You feel that if it were, then you'd probably have some trouble keeping up with it, as is apparent in some of the smaller ships. But for now, you are cloaked in its own warp signature and hidden from view.
In the meantime, I'm going to go to sickbay and make sure that I don't have that genetic marker. And
Sure.
I would recommend my senior staff do the same.
Yes, Captain. Will do.
We were working on some kind of internal ship sensors, right, to detect that mutation in some people.
Yes.
But until we suss out that, we're going to have to make sure that the people that we have working in key positions are people that we can trust, people that won't be turned.
Dr. Madmika, the command crew comes to you all at once, one at a time.
One at a time.
One at a time, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So who's first? Captain?
Captain's going to make sure that set an example for the rest of the crew.
Okay.
Probably a good idea.
Well, Captain, I'm going to check your Rigelian flu symptoms to make sure that is completely gone. And
Appreciate
you-
that.
yes, you are also the first to test the new, how shall I put it, detection scan
We have a new detection scan.
for the mutation to make sure that everyone yes, we do not know how it passes from one individual to another yet, so we need to be vigilant about scanning everybody. And everyone, we can put our tricorder. We can set this up in everyone's tricorder, so you can also scan as well wherever you are. Not everybody has to come to sick bay.
That's actually very handy.
Mm-hmm. So, do I need to
if you
roll?
can, hand that out to the department heads, and we'll make sure that they get that done from the top down.
Yes. Yes, Captain. I would like to
Appreciate
make a request. In the future, can we keep an open comms line? Because a lot of things happened and no one informed the doctor. So I kind of had to find out after the fact. Like, we'd been attacked, and I figured that's what it was, but that wasn't confirmed.
I'll make sure that you're made aware of anything that goes on. Obviously, if we're going to be sending casualties your way, you'll want to know that heads up. That's good thinking. Thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. And do I need to roll for the scan, or just go ahead and?
No, it's a pretty simple scan now. You're refining it to the point that you've almost got it down to a science.
Yeah. Okay.
The captain is clear.
The captain is clear. Well, you are not showing any signs of the mutation, Captain. So that's very good. And I recommend that maybe you can conduct a self-scan at your leisure at regular intervals, just to be certain. And
Sounds
I will
good.
as well.
I'll also make sure that the results of these scans get sent to you, so that way you're fully apprised of any changes that happen.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. We did talk to Ensign Helga, and she agreed to let us treat her. And I have a sample of her blood, and I'm going to be running that through analysis and trying to figure out how it moves from one individual to another. Because if we were all on the ship with them at the same time, passed by them, sat in the mess hall with them, it's very unclear. And so I believe it was Lieutenant Commander Tellen who said that we should look for a specific gene within each individual. And so I'll be running those tests while we're in pursuit, I believe.
Maybe it's a cumulative effect. Something to do with a proximity to the signal?
Yes.
Not necessarily bloodborne. It's some sort of telepathic suggestion from what we were able to discern, correct?
I believe, yes, that is correct. I need to know that for sure. I'm unconvinced of that. How could a telepathic signal affect only one specific gene? That's interesting to me. But we will be conducting that analysis, and we'll figure it all out. I know that the signals have something to do with it, and I am still analyzing the ocean liquid from the planet where the shuttle was found, and there still is nothing there that I've come across. But
That was another interesting mystery, but we can always log that for later, seeing as
yes,
we have new and more pressing priorities. But I appreciate the thoroughness of your research, Doctor.
thank you. Other than that, if you want to send whomever up to medbay,
Will do.
we'll keep scanning.
I think the Lieutenant Commander Talon is on her way next.
Okay.
Doctor?
Lieutenant Commander, here we go.
Number 1.
Captain?
You do a quick scan, and Talon is clear.
Okay.
So I just have to program my tricorder, and now I can scan other people with this?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So if we find ourselves in a situation where you are not able to get to medbay,
Mm-hmm.
then you can also conduct the scan. I would not recommend scanning the people that we come in contact with as the fold, because I have a suspicion that they're all that is what this is. Maybe I'm wrong, but you'll just find a whole bunch of people who are mutated.
How frequently would you like the crew to get scanned, Doctor?
Every 6 hours.
Okay, I'll add it to the schedules and make sure that that on-duty crew members are getting scanned before and after a shift. It might be about 8 hours for them, but then off-duty they should check in at least once with you until we
Yes.
can figure out a way to until we figure out how long this takes to incubate, or whatever the correct term is, and then maybe we can extend it. But yeah.
Yes. I remember what you were saying, and I was thinking about trying to program some of my nanoprobes to inhibit this signal, just to see what is going on there, and that so I may avail myself of your computer expertise.
Sure, certainly, whatever I can do to help. I mean, you're the expert on the nanoprobes themselves, but I can help you integrate them. Absolutely. Just for the GM, I can help the doctor set up like a live feed of the bridge at all times if he wants.
Okay.
If that's what you meant by open comm linked, unless you wanted like all of the conversation all of the time between our communicators.
A live feed would be that would suffice.
Okay.
I can just I'll if I see something interesting going on, I'll turn it on and we'll go from there. But yeah, that would be a great idea. Thank you.
No problem.
That works.
Yeah, that's a pretty simple task. Just ask the computer to link in a feed and off you go.
Can I make a roll though to make sure that this is a secure feed?
Yeah.
And so that the doctor is receiving it only to his console, and that it's like properly encoded that only that console can display it. So if anybody tries to like tap into the feed, they just see like like the 90s dial-up noise.
Yes. We'll just make this a simple difficulty 1.
Okay.
And especially with your expertise and cryptography.
I would say espionage because I'm avoiding people spying on us. But
well,
yes.
Cryptography can be used to like
That's true. Yeah.
Protect and encode feeds and stuff. So, but both work.
What would this be? Presence?
Sorry.
Security?
Sorry. Yeah, no, not presence. I'd say control security.
Okay.
While
So
we're
I
waiting
need
for the results of that roll, I do want to
16.
say that Sting Palm gave us 4 -2s.
Woo!
Thank you, Sting
Man.
Palm.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to have to use my +2 very strategically.
So I rolled a 13 and a 4, and 4 is below my security. So if crypto analysis applies, then it would be 3 successes.
It does indeed. You are maxed out on your momentum.
Okay,
So,
no problem.
I don't know if you can go ahead and like.
I can. I'll only spend one. I'll spend one that I earned because I get one anyways. On information.
Sure.
While I'm setting up this encoded direct feed from the bridge, is there proof that anybody has been monitoring our systems or feeds within the ship? Like, I'm basically checking while I'm at the computer. I want to check to see if any out of the ordinary stuff has been accessed from from like a not regular location.
Ooh.
So some of those crew members that were affected maybe by the fold, had they been, spying on us from their quarters and like redirecting comms traffic, anything like that?
Yes. There seems to be a comm signal that is receiving, not broadcasting, down in one of the cryo tank storage areas.
Oh, okay. I am going to take Cedric, our security chief, and a team down there with me to investigate that.
All right.
Once everything's set up with the doctor, of course.
Of course.
Did you want to finish up in sickbay with the rest of the senior staff, and then we can jump down to
I think that'll
cryo?
be
Okay.
You'll call over the comm security, meet me down in cryo storage 3. Yep. All right. And then we have Lieutenant Dupree.
Doctor, I am here for my scan.
Yes. Let's begin. And he takes the device and just starts to scan. And what's the result?
Lieutenant Dupree is clear.
Is clear. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Lieutenant, the scan is negative, which is really good, and you can use the protocol on your own tricorder. And I recommend doing a self-scan at regular intervals. Every 6 hours would be good. More if you prefer. And you are also able to scan other crew members as well. So, as you know, the vector is unknown, and I'll be working on that here, trying to figure out how it moves from one individual to the other.
Yes, thank you. If I do recall, we did discover that there was a radio signal that was causing people to be affected in this manner. I was wondering if there are genes that are susceptible to the signal, and you have been looking, I assume, at solutions for this problem. Would you like aid from my team in discovering some potential drug target and/or target in the gene itself that you may be able to find and the impact to prevent?
Yes. I want to see if we can block the signal in someone who has already encountered the mutation, and to see how that affects any of the cells. And I'm looking for commonalities between the 7 people, I believe it's 7 people in the brig. And so that analysis is being run as well.
Have you taken samples from those afflicted that we recovered?
Yes. I just was able to get back up here and then started to scan the senior staff.
Might you provide a portion of that sample so that we may research as well?
Yes, absolutely. So he
Excellent.
goes to what would kind of be like the fridge or the cold storage and kind of moves some things around and hands over kind of like a box that has dry ice effect coming out of it.
Excellent. I will provide this to the science team.
Liquid nitrogen, going over the hedge. Yeah.
We will provide
Yeah,
results as soon
science
as we
is
possibly can. And I will say, it may be good at this time to venture progress and testing on medical staff Helga. I do believe she was afflicted and is a willing participant to resolve the issue.
Yes, we will. I would like for you also to speak to her and maybe talk to her about the ghosts. I know that she's kind of incorporated that now into what has happened to her, and so that I'm ineffective in that area.
Ghosts,
since I was
Doctor. That is
part of
highly illogical.
Yes.
It is my understanding that ghosts are some sort of human superstition that is believed to this day.
I do not know if the mutation was taking hold when we had that conversation and left the starbase, and it became part of the conversation that was happening internal in Helga's mind, or if that is. I have no idea how that happened. That's just my theory on it, but it is present, and it is something that she mentioned. So,
Excellent.
illogical as it is, to her it is not at this moment.
And it is still a fascinating phenomenon to interrogate. I shall do so as soon as possible. Thank you.
Well, one day when this is all over, hopefully it'll all be over, I would like to run some scans on the ship because just because the ghosts are not real does not mean that there are not maybe some of the crew became interdimensionally challenged, so to speak, and maybe they are roaming the halls. You never know.
Perhaps that is a fine task for Lieutenant Gary. I'm sure he will be most entertained.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it, but not at the moment. We have enough on our plate.
Indeed, one
Right.
impossible thing at a time.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Lieutenant Commander Tellin, you are on the way down to Cryo Storage 3 to ascertain the nature of this comms device. Okay. You enter in, and the temperature just plummets. It's freezing in here, as it should be anyway.
Okay.
If you will, please give me. Well, how are you searching for this?
So I'm hoping that I could have transferred some of the specifics to a tricorder, and I'm just like narrowing down
Kind of
what
playing hot or
container it
cold.
might be in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's colder, I think.
Colder. I was just thinking where to. Yeah. No, that's good. In that case, if you will please give me a reason security.
Okay. So I need 12. Oof. Can I spend a momentum to reroll a dice?
You
die?
absolutely may, yeah. And remember, you have what? How many minus twos?
Minus
Like
twos. I
5?
think we have 3 minus twos and 1 plus 2. Oh my gosh. Okay. Not good because I rolled 3 failures, but the one that I guess 2 because I rerolled 1 went from a 20 to a 19. So no complications unless there was a range increase.
So if you like, you can succeed at a cost. It'll just give the GM a complication or a threat.
Okay. Yeah,
That
let's
is an
do that.
option.
Sure.
Sure. We can
I just give
absolutely
you a
do that.
threat?
Actually, I'm going to go with a
It's-
complication.
Okay.
It introduces a complication to the scene, but the GM can also take 2 threat instead.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with
Their
a
prerogative.
complication. You find the device. Your tricorder will help you hone in on the signal, and you find it. However, it is not only very secure, but there seems to be a small explosive charge attached to it.
Oh, okay. Is the device triggered, or am I just aware of it?
I will need. You're just aware of it.
Okay.
To get into it, I would say reason engineering. Difficulty 2.
I don't know if Tellen is the right person to deactivate an explosive device. Like, I feel like she would set them. So we'll try.
I mean, if you know ordnance, you know how to defuse it.
Yeah, that's true. All right. I need 2 successes, you said?
Yes.
And it was reason security?
And engineering.
Reason engineering. Okay. Okay. Well, if I can use some -2s,
Yes, of course.
then I succeed. 2 successes. I have to use 2.
Okay, 2 -2s to
Yeah.
to make your success, or 2 successes.
Correct.
The explosive looks like it would trigger if the device is removed.
Oh, okay. I wonder if we could just beam it into space. I'm gonna call Geary, because I don't know. Lieutenant Geary. Maybe to pray first.
Oh, you're gonna go to
Then
pray
Geary.
first? Okay.
Yeah. Lieutenant Prey, could you please come to Cryo Bay 3?
Yes, presently. What, may I ask, is the issue?
I'd rather not discuss it over comms. Just in case anyone's listening and they decide to.
I am, in fact, single. She'll head right down.
Oh my gosh.
Lieutenant Tellen, did you appreciate my joke? I am trying
She's
humor.
like blushing, and it's like -30 in here. You could tell her cheeks are red.
I have
Rosy
decided
cheeks
to
and a
try
button
humor.
nose.
I have decided to try humor in an effort to better understand humans. Did it work?
It made me fluttered. I'm glad to hear that it was intended as a jest. Anyway, if you'll see here on this frozen compartment, this device here is an explosive, and I'm wondering what you make of it, and if you think we could transport it safely into space.
May I analyze it?
You may. Reason engineering.
And I have a focus of deductive reasoning.
Okay. For that specific information, I'm going to say difficulty 3.
Ooh, okay. Well, I got 1 success. If that's the case, then this is important. It's a bomb on the ship. I would like to use 2 of our voluminous momentum.
Very good.
Spend it.
You'll be down to 4 total.
Mm-hmm. And that gives me 3 successes?
Yes. So you were buying successes, or?
Yes.
Uh,
Is it 1 per, or am I
So you buy
misremembering the
extra
rule?
dice. You don't buy successes
Oh,
yeah.
unless you
okay.
spend determination. You can spend determination to get 1 die as though it's already been rolled, as though it's already rolled a 1,
Okay.
but you need to call upon a value that you have on your character
All right,
sheet.
then I will buy 2 dice, which
Okay.
hopefully is 2 momentum, 1 per.
Actually, let me double check
I
that
think
because
the
the
first one is 1, and then the second one is 2, I believe.
I think it's 2 for the second, so it'd be
Yeah.
3 momentum for 2 dice.
All right. I'm gonna be willy-nilly with our momentum because I feel like it.
Okay.
And we've
For
been
it.
so conservative with it. I don't want to have fun with it.
Sure.
So
Smoke them if you got them.
I'm buying 2. Let's see here. My combined. Remind me, that was reason and engineering?
Yes.
Perfect. That's right on the line. A 14 and a 6. That's 2 successes, 3 total. Hot dog.
Fantastic. So you study this device from all angles, kind of discuss it over with Tellen. If the signal were to cease receiving, it would go. Now, if it's caught in a teleport beam, it would cease.
However, I have a theory. If we could replicate the signal that it is receiving and then attach a beacon emitting that signal to the location we are beaming out of the ship, would the signal be continuous as it was being beamed?
No, because as the teleporter takes the device and breaks it down for teleport, it's not going to be receiving a signal. Of course, then again,
there's like a split second
Yeah.
where it would not have its components in the proper order that
yes.
it wouldn't get a signal.
Now, it's possible that the teleport beam, the initial teleporting process would limit the blast as it's not fully itself, but it would probably go off before it finished that process.
Okay.
Then, another proposition. Lieutenant Tellen, are we able to use the ship's shield generator to craft a bubble around the space where the explosion might occur, and then beam it out? With a mitigated blast, the shields may be able to contain it and prevent damage to the room.
Do you mean inside the ship?
Yes.
You want to erect force fields? Okay, sure. We could probably use the deflector to extend our shields out if we manage to not explode the pattern buffer. I'm mostly concerned with the integrity of the ship on the inside, because the outside is pretty well armored. So,
could we possibly achieve the effect with a minor modulation of the shield emitter? That way, it would not significantly impact the safety to the ship, while at the same time allowing us to create some protection for the interior of the ship here in this minor location.
Yeah, I think. Can I make a scan of this device to see if I can anticipate the frequency of any explosion it might make, so as to make our shields stronger against it?
And I would like to aid.
From the outside, correct?
We're gonna erect force fields on the inside of the ship in the room that we're in.
Okay.
And then sort of have like a disarming room, like the box that they put over the explosive. But the box is this room.
Gotcha.
I was even thinking smaller, like if the bomb is like 6 inches wide, like a foot diameter sphere around it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely project some force fields in here. I'm just looking to see if I can figure out how strong the blast might be and then erect the proper force field, basically.
Okay. I'm going to say insight security.
Okay.
And if I'm to,
difficulty 2.
and if I'm to aid, Would I roll the
Um,
same or something different?
That one's cocked.
Reason science.
Okay.
I got 1 success.
2.
All right.
All right. So
11 and 8. Yep.
you gain a momentum there. Did you only roll 1 d20? Because if you're aiding, I think you only roll 1 d20.
Oh, is it? Okay, then that's only what I thought I rolled 2. I apologize. So then that's just
That's
either way it was each one was a success.
you still
so.
succeeded, yes.
Yeah.
So I had 1 success added to Juicy's
Okay.
for 2.
So, based on your combined knowledge of science and security, it culminates into that the blast is going to be very localized. So, it was designed to take out the tank or put a hole in the tank should it be removed. Putting a shield around it would certainly contain the blast, but it would still accomplish its mission of putting a hole in the tank.
Okay. What vital system does this cryo tank feed?
It's part of the weapons cooling system.
Don't want that then.
Could we, Lieutenant Tellen, could we empty the tank currently while we are going through this procedure, patch the tank, and then refill it?
Yeah, I think we can redirect a lot of this coolant to another storage bay in the meantime, carry out the plan, and then make repairs and transfer it back. We just have to take a little extra time to reroute the coolant system.
Absolutely.
I will get an engineering team down to make the necessary adjustments.
Okay. So if you're going to do that, so who's going to take the lead on the transference for the coolant?
I can,
Okay.
since I'm the one calling them down.
Sure. You're going to call them down. If you can, presence and command.
Okay. 13s. Oh no, I got a nat 20, but
Oh,
one
no.
success.
So one. I didn't give you the difficulty.
I can roll
Okay.
again.
No. We're gonna call that a success with complications. In that case, they're going to be able to divert most of the cryo juice to alternate tanks, but there's still going to be a good quarter of the tank left. So either you jettison it or and have less later, or it's going to spill out into the room. Things are going to get icy.
Yeah, so it basically, I guess, just freezes everything on contact.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And either way, we lose it.
That about sums it up.
Might as well jettison it.
Yeah, with the bomb.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jettison the whole tank.
Can we replicate a new one? Do we have industrial replicators?
No. You'd probably have to get a new one.
We'd beat down a tank.
Yeah, but you could just vent the coolant out into space.
Okay.
Okay. It's on the outside of the tank, right? So venting the coolant won't eject the device into space.
Correct.
I think we're going to lose it anyways.
Agreed.
Better out than in, they always say.
Yes, I have heard from a great noble work from the 20th century called Shrek.
Noble work.
I
A
believe it is-
cultural phenomenon.
Yes, I believe it was one of the classics.
Okay, I will make the arrangements to have the rest of the cryo chamber contents ejected, and then we will erect the force field around the device and try transporting it, or just try detonating it.
I assumed we would try to transport it to
Okay.
mitigate the effect of the explosion.
Okay. You do
Okay.
that.
So Lieutenant Dupre, if you will, head up the, who would like to head up the teleporting task?
Not me.
Not you.
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
Hit
sure.
me.
Let's go.
What should I roll?
I'm going to, let's say, control con with a difficulty of 2.
Could I lobby for control engineering?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, and what was the difficulty you said?
2.
Then I don't need to argue for one of my focuses, because that's 2 successes, a 10 and a 2.
There you go.
Yay.
So the tank gets pumped out. Most of it gets separated into other tanks. The last quarter of it gets routed out and into space. The teleporter picks up the signal and locks on, teleports it out. Luckily, it's fast enough that it explodes outside.
Oh, yay.
Good.
However,
Complication. That laugh.
We are currently in the eddy of a very large ship, aren't we?
yep.
Oh, no.
Oh, Christ on a
forgot.
cracker.
Oops.
There is an almost immediate reaction from the ship ahead as the ensign or Chort announces, Captain, they're coming about.
Also, I think there was a very large explosion off of our deck, and I had no idea what was happening.
Oh no.
Just at that moment, you hear like a call on your badge, Captain.
Don't tell me.
We identified a bomb on the ship and were able to successfully eliminate it.
Good to know. Short, get us the hell out of here now.
Yeah. Aye, sir.
They've just killed us. We're dead, guys. I'm so sorry.
I am trusting Short. That is me relaying an order with like all due
Yep.
deference to just like, Short, I'm trusting you. Get us out of here now.
Hopefully Chort has a better
that
day today
is,
than he did yesterday.
Seriously hoping
shoot.
so.
All right. I am going to use one of your -2s to get 2 successes.
Please do. Thank you.
I think that's the last one for now.
Okay. And Chort punches it, like turns the parallax on its axis and just like hits warp 10 whatever.
Warp 9.97. So I'm going to very quickly pull up a scanning protocol on my because like as a captain you do have like your own sort of mini station, and so I'm going
Sure.
to pop that up and I'm going to scan for some place we can hide because they've probably made us.
Oh, good call. In that case, Insight Con. Difficulty 3.
Insight con. Okay. Focus on evasive maneuvers. Does that apply?
Evasive maneuvers, yes.
Absolutely. So I would like to do that. And can I be also assisted by the ship's sensors?
Absolutely, yes.
Incredible. You are kind and merciful, and never let me tell you you are not.
I'm
so
not
that
trying
is
to kill you, per se.
that is a crit from the ship.
But we're trying to kill us.
That is a crit from the ship with a natural 1.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
hell yeah.
Nice.
And that is a 4 and a 7 from me, and 4 is actually at my con, so that does crit as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Ooh.
Give yourself
Find a
some
place to
momentum there.
hide.
Love that.
There was a burst of data from the bomb as it went off, and the ship caught it, which included some astral navigation information. So as you're going to as you're typing in and looking frantically for somewhere to hide, a field of asteroids lights up on your map, and many of the asteroids and rocks are definitely big enough to hide a ship the size of Parallax.
That's as good a place as any. Short, bring us in there.
Aye, Captain.
I'll also go.
All right.
Captain to pray.
Yes, Captain. How may I be of service?
Next time, a little warning. Now I see what the doctor's talking about with communication. We're going to have a staff meeting after this. Vindication from the doctor.
Shit, I need a moment.
Talon's like already removing one of the pips from her neck.
Yes, Captain. Duly noted.
It's like, where's my sword? I need to fall on it somewhere.
Here, let me hand it to you.
The Chort pulls you out of warp very abruptly, right at the edge of the asteroid field, and keeps it on a high impulse as he navigates between these city-sized boulders. And we're going to attempt to hide. Okay. Let's do a ship. Okay, all right. Chort pulls the Parallax around and lowers carefully against the side of one of the asteroids opposite from the direction in which you came.
Now let's hope that we're small enough that they can't get in here and they don't notice us.
Actually, I want to see if
Short, if you can.
Yes, Captain.
Bring us to condition gray. That means low power mode.
Yes, Captain. And type it in. Main power and everything just dims, leaving on just a few lights. Sensors go quiet.
Essential systems only.
The only thing running is bare minimum life support and startup systems to bring everything to life if necessary. The with the sensors down, it's hard to say if they pursued, if they're sitting there watching, waiting. How long do you want to wait?
I think we'll stay here for just a couple of hours. And then just have everybody at ready stations. As soon as we see a sign of them, we kick up and we get the heck out of here again.
Captain, might I recommend that we initiate different systems staggered, so that way we can initiate first the sensor systems before turning on the lights and the engines.
Sensors would be good to have right now.
Indeed.
The sooner we know that whether or not they're out there, the better.
Okay. Are you just gonna flick them on and see what happens, or?
We'll put them on sort of a low power version of the sensors, limited scanning range.
Okay.
To start. Just to see if there's anything close. And if there is anything that's within that sort of minimum safe distance, then we'll kick up other things as well.
Okay. If I can get control engineering from someone, whoever's going to
Doing the sensors?
bring on sensors.
I could be back on the bridge after a couple hours.
Yeah, I
with
think
my
we're
tail
both there.
between my legs.
Yeah.
Very quiet, yes. We're sitting in our chairs just...
There was that suggestion from Tepre, and the captain sort of shakes the head for a second and just be like, I don't want to talk to you right now, but you're on duty, so I'm going to be as professional as I can. It's okay. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Oh no, that's worse.
no!
That's worse, you know that's worse.
Sorry, can you repeat what I'm rolling?
Control engineering.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so 2 successes for a 4 and a 9.
Yes. So I only set that difficulty at 1, so
Perfect.
give you a momentum on that one. And you're up to 6.
That's our maximum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Knowing how signals work, knowing that if you were to just kind of broadcast, they'd be able to hone in on you. So you take kind of a lesson from the history books and instead use kind of like sonar and bounce it off nearby rocks to disguise your location. And hopefully any return that you get, which will be limited, will garner you the data that you need.
Okay. Can I spend a momentum to ask if there's any presence of the large ship out there?
Yes, absolutely. The signal that you get back is there's lots of noise, there's lots of data to parse through, and with these systems, so minimal. You have to almost dig through it. But the picture that you get is that there is a very large object stationary just outside the belt.
Captain, they're still there.
All right. We're gonna have to. Well, coming out the way we came isn't going to be an option. Do you think they could follow us through here, or do you think they're too big? What's your assessment?
Could I analyze the asteroid belt to see how dense it is? Because if it is dense enough, they could not pass through.
Based on the visual and the sensor data that you have, it was fairly dense. Chort was dodging some definite fastballs.
So could we almost like rock hop through the asteroid belt on low engine power with the lights off? So then
Like thrusters only? We have
Yes.
maneuvering thrusters.
So we would look like another rock sort of going around. That way we match the signal of the other asteroids in the belt and make our way sort of randomly, right? In my brain I'm kind of thinking like in Dune how they walk sort of without rhythm to avoid the worms. But like instead we'll zigzag in a randomized pattern along with the available asteroids in the belt in order to look like we are not moving in a straight line
We're
as a
just
ship.
space debris.
Yes.
Right.
And could I maybe make calculations to aid that effort?
Yes, you can. Do you want to have Chort performing those maneuvers? He's gotten a little bit of extra time in the simulator.
The pilot, and I need a win.
All right.
Okay, so here is a question.
Yes.
One of the things that we can do with momentum, because we have a buttload of it, is we can create a problem, which happens during the opponent's turn before they roll for a task. That creates difficulty. It increases the difficulty of the opponent's task by 1, and it has to be done before the dice is rolled.
Ooh.
So while we are like doing our rock skipping maneuver, we could, if we're successful on that, we can also create an advantage that they don't detect us, or we can create a problem so we can make it harder for them to detect us. It's 2 momentum to do.
I don't hate that. I think if it makes our lives easier by making it harder for them to detect us, that probably makes the most sense, because that then will aid our efforts to avoid detection as we move.
Because we've got 6 momentum currently.
5.
5.
We've eaten some of it, and we
have
some
eaten
more.
just a little bit of it. That's true. Yeah.
I spent 1 for the question on if the ship is still there.
That's perfect. I love obtaining information spends. So
Direct answers, GM. Direct answers.
Yeah, exactly. Give me honest answers. No hiding from me. So here's what I propose. We'll do our rock skippy deal. And we can create the problem so that it's harder for them to scan us initially. And then what we can also do is, if we're successful after we roll whatever, we can create an advantage after that successful task that they don't see us.
Maybe as we move...
I'm proposing 2 momentum spends.
I support that. Maybe as we move, what we're doing to create this challenge for them is we're basically using the thrusters to move ourselves and disperse space debris to obscure the movement, so that way their sensors are occluded from detecting us.
Perfect.
Okay, so shall I...
I love that. I love all of that.
Yes. So shall I... So how do we do this? Do I set course and then Chort does the driving? How do you...
Yep.
Tell
Chort
me, GM.
will do the driving, and then you can aid by astronavigation, I assume?
I do not have that. I was assuming this was more of a physics problem.
No, that would work. Yeah.
So would it... Could I argue reason and science, or would it be reason and command?
as you're trying to guide him, I would say reason and command.
Okay.
Yeah. And it is going to be a pretty tricky maneuver. So I'm setting the difficulty at 4.
Okay.
I would love to assist. I would love to assist Chort, if possible, just potentially by just saying, okay, we're just gonna take it easy, one step at a time. And I'm angling for that good presence plus command check from me.
And I would like to request use of the ship's computer as aid.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If Captain, you could roll for the ship.
So,
I got 2 successes. I got 2 6s.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Already halfway
Okay.
there. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm
All right,
I'm
Chort.
gonna to help out. That die is rolling very well today. That is the second one on that same die.
Heck yeah.
And I like it because it's a little skull.
Oh, fun.
So that's a 1 and a 7 from my presence command, which is 3 successes. The ship rolled an 8, which is a success from the ship.
All the successes.
Well,
Oh.
as Tort was essentially leading this effort.
Yes. Oh, sorry. That's one.
He got 2 successes.
Ooh-wee.
So all of that applies. That will max out your momentum. But well, it would if you weren't spending it because you're creating the
So-
problem, correct?
Yes, we're going to spend 2 momentum to create the problem, so to make it so that their sensors are obscured some way.
Okay. Just as you finalize your kind of flight path, in a way, or how you're going to do this rock jumping, just before Chort begins the maneuver, there is an explosion off in the distance as one of the asteroids explodes into dust. But Chort ignores it. And
Chort's got this. We have faith in Chort.
hits engage and essentially plays a little bit of what's that, Qbert to jump like from block to block.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of randomly using Lieutenant Dupre's guidance or flight plan and physics algorithms, and then taking the captain's encouragement to heart. More asteroids explode behind you, and you get a little peek at what's going on. The ship is destroying some of the bigger asteroids, obviously in search for you. But even as you get further and further away, the ship continues to shoot at asteroids closer to it. So they have not seen you.
And with that extra 2 points of momentum will create the advantage that they don't.
All right.
So they just went in and they're shooting everything now.
They're blasting.
Cool.
So I just walked in and started blasting. That's the energy they're giving today.
After what seems like an hour of intense but clenching anxiety as you continue this rock hopping adventure, you eventually reach the edge of this particular asteroid belt, leaving the ship well in your wake.
Oh. All right, we're going to have to come up with a new plan. But Good work getting rid of that bomb. I don't approve of the methods, but I do approve of the results. But again, a little heads up next time. Hopefully there won't be a next time.
Of course.
Captain to Dr. Madmika.
Medmika here.
Apologies for not letting you know in the heat of battle. Hopefully the open comms channel helped you out a little bit, keeping you apprised.
Battle? It did help.
There was
I
an
knew
explosion.
something was going on.
All right. Captain out. And Captain's going to be like, I'm going to go back to my ready room and I'm just going to have about like a good solid 20-minute stress nap. You got this? You got this. And then it's just going to walk out.
Stress nap. I think we could all use one of those. In fact, I think this is a good time to go ahead and take our break. We will come back at close to the half hour, so I'm going to say about 27 after. We will come back and resume and see where our crew is at that point. So,
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and hope you will stick around for the second half.
See you in a
See you
little
in a
bit.
bit.
Bye-bye. Hello and welcome back to Flight Beyond the Veil, a Star Trek adventure to the galactic core. So, our intrepid crew has narrowly avoided certain doom that they nearly brought on themselves.
Sorry.
Are we the bad guys? Are we a danger to ourselves and others?
Maybe need some evaluation, but you have made it through the asteroid field and are now cruising in any particular direction, or just trying to get away from the area.
We're gonna clear this area first, and then try and find. We're gonna regroup with the information that we have, and we're going to start doing scans and trying to find where the signal's coming from, because that's really the only key that we've got at this point, right? And then we did have that one planet that we got an invitation to as well.
Additionally, Captain, given the information and data that we collected on the ship we were pursuing, we will be able to identify with relative accuracy their destination.
Excellent. I'd say get on that if we can, as soon as we can. Getting a course and trajectory is, I think, probably as good a plan as any. So if we can extrapolate where they're going, we can at least follow them there the long way.
Agreed.
Bleep, bleep. Lieutenant Poplovich, Captain.
Yes, Giri, go ahead.
So I've been running all kinds of simulations and trying to engineer our countermeasure, but there seems to be some element missing. Some technology that we don't have in order to provide a successful and effective countermeasure to the signal. And I'm not sure what you wish to do with this kind of information.
Have you coordinated with Dr. Medmika and the medical team to see if there was some sort of collaboration that you could pull together to see if there's some solution from the medical side as well as the engineering side that might help us?
I can do that. That's no problem. But I think we're still pretty limited on available resources. Perhaps.
What do you need to get the job done, Giri?
Well, if we had a sample of their technology, something that can easily capture this signal, or yes. Do we have any of their technology? Perhaps.
Do we have any of their technology? I don't think we do. There was There might have been something on the ship, but I think it might have been blown up.
It is also worth asking our afflicted crewmates. They may have something on their persons that might be of use. If not, we will have to find something. Good
idea. All right, let's see if they might have anything. Did we do a full inventory when we got them back on board? Was there anything with them that?
There was nothing alien to them. Just their standard issue tricorders, phasers, that kind of thing.
Okay.
We're after the full technology. That's what Pavlovich wanted. Okay.
Yes.
I can assist with another scan through maybe internal sensors of the tricorder.
It's also possible we do have that one open invitation to that one planet, or maybe our friends, well, I wouldn't call them friends, have some sort of hint as to their technology as well. Maybe they have something.
The Zytherians?
Yeah, maybe the Zytherians have something.
Yeah, actually, we can report to them now that we've retrieved our missing crew members. At least
Did
as
they
many
happen
as we
to?
could.
I was out with the Rigelian flu. As you well know. Did they happen to? Did they happen to tell you what exactly they planned on doing with our compatriots once we brought them to them?
No. It was more of a by necessity arrangement that we reached so that they wouldn't destroy us.
Don't necessarily like that, but let's try and rally with the Zytherians. It still seems like a risky move, but it might be one that can yield answers. At the very least, if I can talk to someone, I might be able to sway them.
I believe they said to just send out a general hail to this frequency, and they would send a ship by, so it'll be probably an automaton that we meet with.
Captain, I have a proposition. This may seem counterintuitive, but if we took the invite to the planet within the fold, and we were able to get a piece of their technology, and then identify a countermeasure for the signal that makes people susceptible to the fold's influence, then perhaps that could become leverage with the Zytherians to gain them as true allies.
That is another possibility. So what's the recommendations? Do we travel to this fold planet, try and acquire the technology that we can, and then see if we can parlay with the Zytherians? Or do we go to the Zytherians first? No, go ahead.
I think that the enemy we know is probably a safer bet. And by know, I mean have a open working relationship with the Zytherians for now. We don't know the military strength of the Fold. So far, they've been open and accommodating and inviting and not a threat to us other than we found out that they're influencing genetic mutations among our crew. That I think if we extend a hand to the Zytherians and meet with them first, I don't see it ruining our current relationship with the Fold.
The thing is I don't know that we have any information on either party. We're still working with limited resources and limited information. Information is probably the most valuable resource if we think about it that way.
I have a crazy idea, Captain.
What, crazier than beaming something into space?
So crazy it just might work.
So crazy, it's just crazy like a fox. Anyways.
If there is some way that we could convince the Fold that one of our crew members is fully taken over, we could infiltrate their planet and gather information and send it back to us. I think the chances of infiltration inside the Fold are greater than infiltration inside the Zytherian organization, so it's a thought. We might be able to spoof some of their sensors with false mutation readings.
While we were following that ship, did we happen to get like a good sense of what their firepower is, what their strength is?
The ship that you were shadowing had a lot of available firepower, as you witnessed in its destruction of the asteroid belt. Several forward banks of hey, make me pull up all the
Photon torpedoes.
They're like laser weapons that shot off of the
Phasers.
sea urchins.
sea urchins. Are we talking about the Cytherians or the?
No, we're talking about the Fold ship. We actually never really found out for sure if that was a ship from the Fold. It was just a ship we were following.
A big manta ray.
Well, as certain organizations, I use that term loosely, tend to have similarly engineered ships. The one that you were shadowing had many features in common with the first kind of like acorn-shaped one that you ran into.
So presumably it would be from the same place.
The weapons were phased polaron beams that were used to obliterate the asteroid belt.
And compared to the automaton ship, how would it stack up in a fight?
It could probably take on a legion of the small ones. The cruiser that they met while you were sick, it would probably take about a dozen to compete.
With the one that we ran away from?
Yeah.
At this point, I don't necessarily think that we're about on even footing with both of them. And so at this point, I think that our question really is, who can we talk to that we could take in a fight if we need to? And I'm thinking that would be the Cytherians. It's about damage control at this point.
Yeah, as long as they don't surround us.
And I know that we've taken out their ships before, and they're usually, the smaller ones at least, are fairly easy. We're also still pretty hurt, fairly damaged. I presume that all this is sort of happening in like a meeting room and the doctor's there. It's the senior staff meeting, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm open to suggestions, but I think that the Cytherians might be our best bet. Also, because we don't know if the Fold has that signal to a point where they've weaponized it. We really don't know anything like that. The first signs that our crew were ready to mutiny happened after we had already encountered the Fold. Which is a little suspicious to me.
Well, Captain, we don't know if the Fold are also victims.
That's the thing, right? Or if they're...
Yeah.
Good point.
Making it. As for the idea of infiltrating the Fold, that might be easier to fake the signal, or to fake the signal that the mutation has fully taken over. However, when I talked to Ensign Helga, she said that there was a voice that was talking to her, and she also knew that it was talking to the other crew on the shuttlecraft. So I don't know how that. We may be able to fool a censor, but I would be.
That sounds like almost some sort of mind link.
Right. Maybe we could talk to Lieutenant Trosa as a Betazoid and see if any insight can be found there. But again, I'm skeptical of that. However, I'll keep going at it, and if you want me to try to program some of the nanoprobes to fake the signal, we can do that too. I'm okay with that.
All right, if you could get on that. I say that we go to the Zytherians, and here's why. Obviously, at the moment, we currently have something that the Zytherians want, and that at least gives us a chip that we have on the table. Because I have a feeling that if the Fold wants our crew will just find a way to get to them. At the very least, we have something to bargain with. As much as I hate bargaining with people's lives, it's a terrible thought to do. But at the very least, this way we can protect them. So I say we contact the Zytherians. It's a calculated risk, but it's one that we're going to have to take. Because we can't hide in metaphorical or literal asteroid fields forever. Eventually we're going to have to make a step.
I think the Zytherians are going to want the crew. I think that is how they saw the deal being made. That they would be able to take those crew and probably kill them. That seems to be... I mean, they killed one of their own.
That's true.
We were able to dissuade them from shooting our crew members when they boarded the ship. So there might be a way to negotiate with them, saying like, "Look, we got our crew members back. Is there anything we can do to help them?"
I think we all are. Very true.
Okay. Well, Lynn, contact the Zytherians. Let's see how this poker game plays out.
Okay.
Everybody else, you know your assignments. Let's get back to work.
Everyone returns to their stations, or their duties at hand. Lieutenant Commander Tellin, if you put out the signal immediately, you will get a response that a ship is en route and will rendezvous at set coordinates.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Lieutenant Dupre, do you want to make an astrometric scan of the coordinates to see what basically want to be ready for a fight if we have to, or flee? I want to know the lay of the land and if any other ships could be hiding.
Do you mean of Fold ships or of Zytherian ships?
That's a good question. I'd say stick to Zytherian for now, since we're meeting them. They might have said that they were sending one ship, but they will be sending 3 or 4.
Yes, I will happily run a scan. GM, what should I roll?
Let's go with control.
Command? Or
Con.
I like that less, but okay.
Control con. And what you're just trying to scan the area?
Yes, and I got one success.
You can also use the ship sensor, so remember that.
Captain, could you roll for the ship as well?
But you're already on a difficulty 1, so.
Oh, okay. Then I did it.
But you could get momentum, so.
True.
It's an 8 from the ship.
So that is
one momentum.
That is momentum. So there you go. The coordinates are very close to a moon of a
That's no
large
moon.
gaseous planet.
Crossover.
That's no moon, that's a space station. Yeah.
The coast, Lieutenant Helen, as they say, is clear.
Okay.
Bring us in. Short, bring us in.
Aye, Captain.
Steady as she goes.
I'm still trying to come down
You
from
got
that.
this, Ensign.
Oh, that.
I love how many human references we make to like culture and common phrasing, but like none of the senior staff is human.
That's fair. That's valid. But at the same time, Starfleet Academy is in San Francisco, so you pick up a little bit through
We
osmosis,
did, yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Chort changes course for the coordinates. And it's not a slight adjustment. And announces that it will be about 2 hours to destination.
All right.
In the meantime,
Yeah.
Talon picks up a hypospanner and gets to cleaning some plasma conduits by hand. As punishment.
Self-punishment.
I didn't order you to
Self-inflicted
do
punishment.
In the meantime, T'Prai is going to practice her Vulcan loot.
Nice.
Okay. Privately in her quarters?
Yes.
Okay.
Some quiet contemplation over what she's done.
What about Dr. Medmika? What does Dr. Medmika do to unwind, as it were?
No unwinding for the doctor. He's working on the nanoprobes and trying to see if, one, the signal can be blocked, but he doesn't know that the chief engineer has indicated we probably need more technology, so he doesn't know that. And then trying to see if there's any way to isolate a cell to prevent it from receiving the signal. Maybe you aren't blocking the signal, but you're trying to change the cell somehow. And then the other one is to see if we can just mimic the cell, just see if we can mimic the mutation and be able to trick the fold into believing that someone is part of the fold.
Gotcha.
So 3 things I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you focus on one for for the time being. So which one do you want to have as your focus for the next couple hours?
So metagaming, I would not try the one where I want to block the signal.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm going to try the one to see if I can mimic the signal from someone who is fully mutated at the cellular level. And that way, if we do need to infiltrate, or maybe there's something else we need to do, we'll be able to do that.
So to mimic the mutation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we could send someone in to a fold ship and they wouldn't think anything of it.
Sure. I'm gonna reason. I know that you're best at medicine, but I think this is more of a science thing.
Could I argue for engineering for the nanoprobes?
Okay. Yeah, I can grant you that.
Okay. And then, so I'm working on trying to mimic the signal.
Mhm.
Okay.
So in that case, the difficulty is going to be pretty high at a 4.
At a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to buy...
Now remember, you can also use the ship's computer as well.
Okay. So ship's computer.
And then you want to buy...
I want to buy 1 D20 with threat. So I'm using bold medicine, and then I can re-roll one of these D20s should something happen. And then I want to buy a second or a fourth or a second die with 2 momentum. So I'm rolling a total of 4. I think that's right.
To be clear, you bought 2 dice with momentum and you bought 1 with threat?
Yes. I bought one
with
threat.
1 with threat and 1 with momentum.
And the second one with momentum.
So that would still only be 1 point of momentum, wouldn't it?
That would only be 1 point of momentum.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Momentum,
Okay.
Yeah. So that puts us nice and even at 5 and 5.
Okay.
Plus an assist from the ship. So
Plus an assist from the ship.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I need a... Where am I at here? Reason engineering, I need a 14.
Okay.
A 19, a 9, and a 13. So 2 successes there. The 19 doesn't count. I need to... So I had a 19. I don't have a 4th physical, so... Should I
go ahead and re-roll the 19. Yeah.
re-roll the 19 as the 4th?
as the 4th one, yes. Yeah.
As the 4th one.
Mm-hmm.
A 13. So that was 3 successes, and then I have the 19 as the 4th, and because I used bold, I can re-roll the 19. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have 3. 12. Yes.
Nice.
And so that's 4, and then whatever the ship is going to roll.
The ship rolled a 3.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
This die is treating me very well tonight. Sweet precious baby. You will be blessed.
Your nanobots are able to replicate the signal that you've been privy to, that you have the data on. They are definitely exhibiting the same signal. Now, whether or not it's safe, that's a whole different question.
Right.
Because is that signal is that simply mimicking, or is it repeating the signal that it might encourage the mutation?
Okay. So, Madmika to Captain.
Go ahead, Doctor.
I've been able to successfully mimic the signal of someone who has been mutated or is under the control of the mutation.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it's going to enhance it or it is just a fake. So I need someone to be able to experiment on, if there's anyone who would like to volunteer for that.
Why don't we run a simulation on a holographic person first?
Okay. I will head down to...
We have
holodeck.
simulators in the holodeck that can mimic human biosigns. Let's make use of that facility.
I'll meet you on the... What is it, deck 4? is the holodeck?
Deck 4.
Deck 4.
I'll meet you there.
Okay.
Ensign Short will indicate that you'll be arriving in about 10 minutes.
Doctor, we might have to take a little bit of a rain check until after we deal with the Zytharians.
Okay. I will be here working on it.
All right.
Yeah, the process of getting those nanobots was took a little bit of time. Was there anything that the captain wanted to do during that kind of downtime? Maybe more stress napping?
Stress napping, filing paperwork, and at the same time sort of formulating a plan for how things are going to shake out with the Zytharians, make sure that there's like a couple of contingencies in place. And then I'm also going to be sending out see if I could send out a few long-range messages to the Federation on our coded frequencies to make sure that, like, at the very least, if something goes terribly wrong, eventually someone will find out what happened to us.
This is our last will and testament, you know.
I'm at the very least sending out, like, I'm making sure that I'm leaving a note so that Mom can find us if they need to find us.
All right.
I just called the Federation Mom.
Yep. Or at least the Admiral. All right. Ensign Short will give you up to the minute updates as you near the moon that was to be your rendezvous. Pulls out of warp unless you have any other orders.
No, well, bring us in at impulse, and we'll just sort of take us in, and we'll just stay where we are.
Moments later, two Cytherian cruisers will pull or drop out of warp and appear on the viewer.
Okay. Short? I'm going to ask you to lay in a course, and then just hold off on pressing warp.
Yes, Captain.
Just in case we need to make a quick exit.
Yes, Captain. We're being hailed.
Put it on.
Viewer changes to one of the interiors of the Cytherian ship, and once again you're face to face with a faceless automaton.
Figured as much. Greetings. This is Captain Mira Drell from the Federation starship Parallax.
Greetings. You are ready for prisoner transfer?
About that. I'm not going to speak to any automated system. I would like to speak to a real person.
That is...
I'm assuming that there is an organic component to your species? To the Zytharians?
There is, but they prefer isolation.
Well, tough. They're not getting a prisoner until I speak to someone in charge. Isolation is fine. It keeps people safe. However, we have people here that need assistance, not prison.
If you will give me a presence command, difficulty 2.
How many momentum do we have currently, folks?
5.
5? Okay, I would like to also buy additional dice, please.
Okay. How many?
Give me... Let me just have a quick... I'm just gonna have a look at my. Okay. I would like to buy. So with my momentum, I'd like to spend 1 point of momentum on an extra die.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also like to call upon a value and burn a point of determination. You get one per session.
Okay.
I'd like to call upon the value, seek out the unknowable and learn it. Because I want to speak to these people that don't want to make themselves known specifically.
We also just got 2 -2s from Coldrake in chat.
Thank you, Coldrake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the talent Former Initiate, which allows me to, when I attempt a task using Control or Reason and spend a determination to buy a bonus d20 for that task, that allows me to re-roll my dice pool if this all goes wrong.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna spend a determination to get an extra die, and I'm going to spend a extra point of momentum to get another die. So I'm rolling 4 dice in total, and I can re-roll the pool if I need to.
Alrighty.
So, let's go. Big money.
Let's do it.
No whammies.
No whammies.
Okay.
Wheel of Fortune.
I have a focus and composure. Does that apply? I say fluttering my eyelashes.
Yes. Okay.
That is 2 2s, an 8, and a 17.
Damn.
Oof.
So that would be with the focus. If the focus and a composure applies, then it would be 4 successes, 5 successes. It would be 5 successes. If it doesn't, then it is what it is.
So you're maxed out on your momentum.
Once again.
Yep. The automatons regard you for an awkward amount of time without saying anything. And the only thing that you can glean is that they must be talking to each other silently through signals and code and whatever else. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they would have responded. Or maybe the screen's broke. Maybe you need to restart it.
And I'll just say, okay, I'm waiting on a response.
Eventually, the viewer will cut, like they've cut the feed.
Okay.
Before,
hold your breath.
Yeah, hold your breath. Hold your breath. Chort's got his finger pose or the engage button.
Just a hand on Chort's shoulder.
Yeah. When what can only be described as a giant head materializes on your bridge. Like, right in the middle of your bridge.
I'm sorry, all I can think is, I am Oz, the great and powerful.
It is this, the head of this elderly gentleman, long, kind of stringy hair, wrinkles, and in the center of his forehead, it just kind of protrudes a little bit, almost like it's the start of a horn, and it's almost like a star shape. It's blue, kind of in color in the center of it. Greetings. Who do I have the honor of addressing?
My name is Captain Miradrell of the Federation Starship Parallax. I want to first off start by apologizing for having to call you out in this manner. I know that your people are normally very isolationist and don't like talking to outsiders.
Yes, my people have been under threat from the beings now known as the Fold for some time. And we do not wish to expose ourselves to the danger that is prevalent throughout the galaxy.
And you're well within your rights to do so. However, we came to this sector of space seeking out a admiral, one of our number that has been taken in by the Fold, and this obviously poses a great threat to our people. We're not from here, obviously, and we're not privy to the customs. And we've been slowly learning more about the Fold as we progress. Obviously, we have a mutual common enemy in them.
That is true.
And we would like, if possible, to find a way to put a stop to this mind control that they seem to be using, taking advantage of genetic markers that make people suggestible. I share that little bit of information for free.
Right. Your willingness to be open and to share your concerns is admirable. However,
I always hate when there's a but.
there's always a but, yeah.
It's just a fancy butt.
But there is no but because it's just a head.
Well, maybe he's a butterface.
Also, I do want to say the way you described this fella, all I can think of is this island Earth with the big foreheads. I don't know if you ever saw it's an older science fiction movie, and all I can imagine is that movie, and then MST3K, the movie, making fun of it. And I just imagine him speaking on a machine called an interocitor. I'm sorry, I needed to segue that and just get it out of my brain.
All good.
No,
For anyone
it's like
in the
a
audience
song.
who knows
Yeah.
the reference. Yeah.
It's like a song, earworm, you usually only have a snippet of the song, and the only way to get rid of it is to
it out
sing
your head.
the rest of the song.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, you're all good.
However, we cannot afford to take organic allies lest they become the Fold themselves. Thus, why our automated defenses?
And we've actually found a way of screening ourselves and knowing which ones of us are susceptible to this sphere of influence.
That is admirable, considering the resources you have at your disposal. We can tell that you're ill-equipped to handle a threat such as the Fold.
Which is why we'd like to be better equipped, which is why I'm here proposing some modicum of an alliance. At the very least, we'd like to move throughout your space unhindered. Where you are, the Fold aren't.
If if you will, give me another presence and command.
All right, sounds good.
And is there anything I can do to aid this with my xenoanthropology?
Sure. How would you like to help?
I want to help ease this by maybe supporting the captain in this interaction. Just simply by offering supporting guidance during the conversation. I think. I don't know. I don't want to interrupt the captain, but I do want
praise
to...
the hype.
Right, like...
Give me a hype woman.
I mean, she is so excited to meet species outside of our own galactic region, but also, like, I have several focuses tied to this conversation between cultural studies, xenobiology, xenoanthropology, linguistic, like,
Heck
all
yeah.
of that.
So I'm going to say
expert.
reason command.
Okay. So...
And difficulty... So you just want kind of like free roam for a little bit. Is there anything more to your
request? If Dupre could like give me some information in my ear and like just like whisper things to me, so that way I know how to approach this. Like I would say I would angle for even reasons science, like focusing on xenoanthropology and how like a species that grows itself in isolation would generally approach things. Like you would have a broad case study that you could go off of, right?
Yeah, I
Sorry,
would think that makes sense.
Not
No,
to
that
dig
does
on
make
your
sense. I will say, so am I rolling 1 die or 2 dice here?
Just 1.
Okay. So, I rolled 2, but both were successes. So that's why I double checked. So I don't have to pick or choose 1. So either way I succeed.
Okay.
So here's the deal. The captain also rolled another presence and command roll as you asked for.
Well,
and I don't know that composure applies because you asked for that earlier before to pray.
Yeah.
So I got a 1 and a 5.
So that what puts you at
this is
3?
a different die, and then I got a 5 on this one. Yes, so that would be 3 successes.
Yeah.
So 4 with to praise.
So I was gonna base the difficulty off of your full request, like so you were requesting just kind of don't harass us, let us don't
and help us if you can. Obviously, like not we wouldn't ask for them to put themselves at risk because they're within their rights to do what they need to do to keep themselves safe.
Sure.
But at the same time, we need to know the boundaries of their space at the very least, so that way we know how to avoid, because we can't keep dodging their landmines while also trying to hide out from the fold.
Yeah.
What like what's the full ask? Like ideally
we would like to be able to go, like, not necessarily like to their home world or whatever, but we would need to know the bounds of their space and maybe be able to like skirt the areas within it, because where they are the fold aren't, is my ask.
Okay.
It's just like a little bit of like base protection from them, nothing too over the top, but just enough so that they maybe stay out of our way a little if they need to, that they know who we are and they know what we're trying to do.
And may I lobby for a little bit of opening consideration to diplomatic relations? Not full on, but like consideration of diplomatic relations.
Consideration of diplomatic relations as well.
So you're not asking for like supplies, direct aid.
I mean, if they would be willing to render us aid, that would be incredible. But I'm not asking for that at the moment.
Okay.
Mostly I'm just asking for us to not be attacked every time we accidentally infringe upon their borders.
Sure.
We're one ship all the way out here.
Yeah, don't blow us up. Let us move around free, and also maybe let's be friends one day.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's the TLDR.
Okay. All right. Because that gives me an idea of where to kind of set the difficulty. I mean, you've already given me your successes, but which with that low of an ask, that low risk of an ask, that was only going to be like a difficulty 2. So that gives you 2 momentum that you can use or lose.
I would love to use them if I could. And I would love to use them because it is a successful task. I would love it to use it to create an advantage.
Ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Spend those 2 points of momentum to give us an advantage that they'll maybe be like a little bit more giving with us. Maybe if we ask for like some basic supplies to help repair our ship or some technology, because we are actually on the lookout for technology to help combat this. Maybe give us like a little bit of an outfit because like we're just like this spunky little ship all out on our own, and like maybe you could give us a little bit of help.
Just a zhuzh.
Have a little help from my friends. All right.
Just some zhuzh, please. And obviously, like, their enemy is also our enemy, and if we wind up taking down the Fold, then we take care of their problem for them.
The progenitor of the Fold is beyond your comprehension. However, it does not affect my people's security should you wish to explore this territory. It is dangerous, as you have, of course, been privy to. My defenses will no longer bother you, lest you take any direct action against them. And we can offer our aid should you be harried by the Fold. And to aid you on your way, that maybe you can provide some monicum of distraction. On the other side of this planet below, there is an old satellite station that has automatic repair protocols that might patch your hurt.
That would be most appreciated.
And should you wish to take action against the Fold, seek out the planet Picareth.
Kareth.
It is a largely uninhabited planet, save for its own fauna. But the Fold have an outpost there that our defenses have yet to do away with. They may have resources that you may need.
Coordinates, Captain.
The things that some technology we might need to help combat this.
We can see what we're up against, at least.
And
if it's...
that is most impressive and gracious of you. In exchange, we will hand over the research that we have regarding the blood factor so that you can do your own scans on any other organic beings. So now, perhaps in the future, you do know who to trust.
That may aid our efforts in combating the power behind the fold. So, thank you.
We also realize that there is some sort of signal that is being broadcast. We're currently trying to find the source of it, but we haven't been able to locate it just yet. Finding and removing it from the equation is on our to-do list, as it were.
As was forementioned, the source of that signal...
Beyond our comprehension. Thing about Starfleet is we've handled a lot of things that are beyond comprehension.
Your predecessors would believe differently.
Well, hopefully we have more luck than them. We thank you very much for your time and for your consideration and your generosity.
And yours. However, we will not be appearing lest it be in a safer environment.
Understood completely. Keep yourself safe first and foremost.
You as well, Captain.
There's a saying on old Earth, put on your oxygen mask before assisting others.
I have not heard that. What does it mean?
It means take care of your own needs. Especially in a dire circumstance. I think it was an old aviation term.
Well.
You see to pray off on the side, typing that down for later research.
I will remember that, Captain. Cosmos speed. And the head fades from view.
Well, that went better than I thought.
Well done,
Excellent
Captain.
work, Captain.
Trort,
well
you
done.
can stand down now.
Okay. The cruisers are breaking off, Captain.
All right, bring us to the other side of this planetoid, and we're going to take us in for repairs.
Let the man have a bio break.
Yes. And then, you know
I
what,
think it's
Trort?
too late for that.
Short,
Lieutenant.
take the rest of the afternoon off. I'll handle the stick from here.
Now, if I can properly swallow my water. Short will nod and remove himself from the bridge as he heads to his quarters for some much needed...
Poor little dude's so stressed. He's been doing so good tonight, though. I'm proud of him.
He's been operating on sleeplessness and coffee.
Logging hours in the flight simulator.
Racagino and nicotine.
Hey, it worked out, though. Like, he was killing it this time.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You orbit the gas giant to find that the station is hanging in a high orbit around the planet, dormant, but readings show that there is some power to it. And as you navigate in close, it seems to light up at the expectation of performing its purpose.
Oh. All right. I'll bring the ship in, and we will. I'm gonna to pray.
Yes, Captain.
Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna look this gift horse in the mouth. Again, another human expression. I keep coming up with those.
That is a strange one, Captain. I have never heard this one before. A gift horse in the mouth.
Looking a gift horse in the mouth. Something to do with not over analyzing blessing.
What is one to find in the mouth when looking?
Well, it was checking the teeth of the horse to make sure it'll hold a bit well.
Ah. I assume this is a mark of good health. Teeth.
Yes.
Indeed. She
all
takes
right.
more notes.
I love it. Okay. I'll bring us into the station. I'm not gonna bother scanning. For a second there was that little bit of paranoia that crept in, and I was just like, you know what? They showed themselves to us. That is enough of a show of good faith. They let their people move away from us. I'm going to bring us into this space station, and I am going to have so much faith that it's the right thing to do, because I am paranoid right now.
Rightfully so. You bring it into the center of the station where it's almost got a kind of a metallic rib cage to berth the ship. And as you bring it into the center, automated mechanisms come down to suspend the ship and hold it in place as a myriad of drones and bots kind of swarm out from the station and begin scanning and looking for needed repairs on the ship.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Huh. This station, does it have like any does it have any again, y'all got me thinking about Enterprise. Is there like a portion of the station that is like that comes up as like, you know, a habitable place for people to perhaps do like a little bit of shore leave?
No, actually. It looks to be
fully
just
automated?
kind of a fully automated, yeah.
All right.
Holodeck episode next week.
Holodeck episode next week. Nice, relaxing holodeck beach episode. Let's do it.
Oh my god, we get a beach episode!
Oh!
Shit.
I think we already had one of those. There was lizard.
There were lizards on the beach.
Yeah, there were.
That was technically a beach episode, because there was a beach.
It was a beach to a Jello
That
world.
was the Jello planet. Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit back in the chair and just rest my head on the headrest and be like, all right, we're gonna be stuck here for a little bit. Can I sort of parlay with like the automated bots on the station and see what their estimated repair time is?
Sure. They are working quickly and efficiently. And it looks like they'll be complete in... actually, we'll do this. 6 hours.
Six hours? All right, we've got 6 hours to kill. Take care of any projects you need taken care of. And we'll get underway again.
Are they repairing any interior systems or just the exterior?
Exterior, though, when the captain kind of pulled them, there is an option for internal repairs as selected.
How is our... No, go ahead.
We should do that because of the explosion from the robot from a few weeks ago. And also the transported bomb that we removed today.
Mm-hmm.
They might find other hidden things too.
Oh, and the panel that exploded me.
Mm-hmm.
The panel that exploded. Yes.
Yes.
I'll get the little repair bots. Give our engineers a little bit of a rest, and we'll get the little repair bots to do some internal fixes as well.
That'll extend the repairs to closer to 10 hours. As they'll need to scan the interior and get all of that repaired. So.
All right, we'll do that. We'll get everybody sort of on their little projects, and we'll get give our engineer team a little bit of a rest because they're probably all more than a little bit stressed out about having to work double shifts to repair everything.
Sure.
This is an excellent time for Dupre to work with the biological research team to help support the doctor's research on identifying ways to deactivate the sensitive genes.
Ah.
Captain, if you do not mind, while we are waiting, I would like to work with the scientific team to do some research.
Yes, coordinate with Dr. Medmika on that as well. I'm sure the genetic engineering would probably be of interest to him.
Absolutely, and she'll go down, and then... Dr. Medmika, if you would come with me.
Yes.
And I know that Dr. Medmika was also going to the holodeck to do some tests as well, so you know what, I'll join you there. We can see we can do all together.
Yep. All right, so you're heading to the holodeck for these tests?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna do run some simulations. We're gonna see if we can do like a little bit of bargain basement genetic engineering, even though that might be a little bit against Federation standards because they do have some pretty strict laws on that because of a man named Khan Noonien Singh. But you know, we do what we can to survive.
Mm-hmm.
It is less genetic modification than it is flipping a switch on and off with individual genes.
Yeah, it's more restoration.
Genes.
It's like gene therapy.
It's that slippery slope argument, but it's okay. we'll pass over it for now.
Well, it may be in what humans do call a gray area. We will not be removing or modifying genes individually.
That's true. We'll just be turning them off. That's actually an excellent idea. And then once we get rid of the signal, we can turn them back on.
Indeed. This can be temporary. I hope.
All right. So the task at hand is to test the mutation or test the nanobots.
So we're going to test the nanobots first because that was the first thing that the doctor came up with.
Okay.
Because we weren't sure if it was going to affect them because at least if we have a holographic crew member, they are confined to the holodeck. They can't go outside of it. If they do, they just aren't there. Stuck in the holodeck episode. That's exactly what this is going to end up being, isn't it?
No.
I'm looking at the GM's pool of threat, and I'm like, if it was me on the other end of that.
You think you left it, but you've been here all along. This is the simulation.
Yeah.
The way I'm looking at that GM's threat pool, and I'm like, oh, if the roles were reversed.
All right. So you're gonna generate a simulated person. And
with that genetic marker, and then we will introduce the simulated nanobots into that person to sort of like run a scenario on whether or not this is going to work.
Sure.
Like it's something that they do 100 times in the actual canon of the show. Geordie LaForge is always running simulations.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not. This is what LaForge and Data do all the time.
Oh yeah. This is classic. So
you always do theoretical before you do practical.
Who's gonna lead this experiment?
I think it's the good doctor.
Okay. Doctor, let's lead with, since this is,
If I remembered how to do extended tasks, this would be like the perfect time to try that out.
It's gonna be reason engineering.
Okay. Can my medical experimentation focus, can that apply?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty is 4.
4. Okay.
Now, obviously, you can have aid from not only the ship's computer, but from
T'Pre will help.
and the captain as appropriate.
Okay.
And you have 7 momentum, so you've got a ton right now.
I should have taken cautious instead of bold.
You have cautious and bold on your character sheet?
No, I should have taken cautious.
Instead of bold.
Yeah. Okay. So
swapping up talents later on is an option if we get to the point where we level how leveling works in this game.
So reason engineering is a 14 and medical experimentation. I will buy an additional die with momentum.
We're capped on that, so absolutely.
I got to do it with threat, otherwise I can't re-roll them. Well, I could just use the momentum to re-roll them, right? Or is it determination to re-roll?
So when a character's value or the mission's directive, our directive right now is to find the admiral. Which this is helping us get that because we are presuming that the admiral is being held by the fold. So this would technically work with our directive, or if you have a value on your character sheet. Sorry, I'm sort of taking over here, GM.
Oh no, please. You're more knowledgeable about it sometimes than I am. So, actually, most of the time.
So you can spend determination if it aligns with your directive or if it aligns with one of your values.
Okay.
And I think this would technically align with our directive because it is all a means to our end.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is an automatic 1, so 2 successes, right?
Yes. And so you can spend determination to gain a bonus d20 that is rolled a 1, so you automatically have 2 successes.
Okay.
And then you can also use it to re-roll all the dice in your dice pool, immediately perform another task as soon as this one's resolved, or create an advantage that applies to the current scene.
So I'm going to roll, and then if it's really, really bad, then I'll use the determination to re-roll all of them. But hopefully, Lieutenant T'Pre and the captain will be able to come up with some successes to bolster that.
So we had 7 points of momentum. If you like, what we can do is we can... you could buy 2 extra dice and then use your determination to re-roll if it fails.
Okay.
I'd like to sort of assist by sort of being like a go-between with them, bouncing ideas off. I have a focus in team dynamics, if that would help.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Here we go.
With the captain's role, Presence command.
Okay. Go ahead.
So a 15, that doesn't count. An 18, that doesn't count. But a 9, which is a 1 success.
Okay.
So
So-
you can always use the determination to re-roll the pool if you like.
And I get to roll one more.
Can I also aid first?
Go for it.
Would that be reason and engineering or reason and science?
Reason and science, I think, as you're working out the
Okay.
interaction between the biology and the technology.
Yes. So I rolled a success. I also have intense scrutiny as a talent. Whenever I succeed at a task using reason or control as part of an is this an extended task?
No.
Okay, then never mind. I misread that, and I'm going to ignore what I was just going to say. Never mind.
Okay. All right.
No, that's just one additional success.
Okay. So
All right.
I don't need to re-roll because I got an 18, a 15, a 9, and a 1. So I got 3 successes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I think overall you had 5, 6. You had enough to max out your momentum again. You run the simulation a few different times using different species, different scenarios. The first thing that you're going to note is that the nanobots repeated the signal. They didn't just mimic it.
Okay.
So what happened to the first couple of simulated people is they went through the progression of this mutation, which actually gives you a visual of what happens to a person if the mutation gets along far enough. So it seems that the mutation has 5 stages. The first is kind of the initial infection. We'll call it that, the initial infection, quote unquote. There's no perceivable symptoms. The next stage, which again is variable depending on the person, how strong that gene is, that kind of stuff. There are no visible symptoms, but they become increasingly susceptible to suggestion. And based on what the signal does, I think you can determine that signal carries suggestion with it.
Okay.
The third is, no matter the species that it affects, red veins begin to develop under the hairline or around the head if they don't have hair, and but it's hard to spot unless you're like looking for it, or the species doesn't have hair. And at this point, they're extremely psychologically vulnerable, hearing voices. The fourth stage, those red veins grow out further toward the face. Their skin tone changes to a more neutral color. So it's it either fades if it's like extremely dark, or if it's white, then it like goes darker. If they're blue, it lightens to more of a gray. It's weird.
The red veins were present on that first member of the fold that we ran into, correct?
Yes.
That's confirmation.
At this point, psychologically, they are obedient to whatever they're asked, or whoever is issuing those commands. And then the final stage. The red veins seem to burst as they become prominent. The skin reaches that kind of grayish or very neutral tan. There certain qualities of the species have diminished. So, like, if you're a Klingon, your forehead ridges have, like, smoothed out. They're still, like, noticeable, but it's very...
it's a little more B'Elanna Torres, less Worf.
Mm-hmm. And... as far as the voices and... they're fully fold by that point. As you've met at least one or two of the fold members.
All right. So I would like, if possible, I have questions, and I'd like to spend some obtain information.
Okay.
If y'all are okay with that.
Go for it.
Okay, so let me just have a quick look at that. Obtain information after a successful task. Can it be done? Is this repeatable?
Obtain information?
Yeah, I'm
It is repeatable, yeah.
Oh, so I can ask more questions.
can.
How many extra momentum did we have? Sorry, go.
So,
Would you like me to actually ask 2 or more questions to obtain information so we can gain advantages?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes,
so
please.
would you like to feed me questions?
I would love to feed you questions.
ask the universe.
Teamwork.
Yes.
Teamwork. So my question, so the question that I had is, at any of these stages, so first off, based on this information, Coldrick actually asked the question that I had in mind. Based off this information, what stages are our crew members at?
I was wondering that too. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one.
The answer to that question is they are probably in the second stage. If not third.
Okay. The crew member that is currently missing, do we know what stage he was in? Or they were in?
Data not available on that one.
Okay.
But if you talk to, say, get information from the crew that you recovered,
we might be able to confirm
solid 3.
Okay. Gotcha.
Great. So, with the questions we're asking, I would like to convert this into an advantage to find a cure, to turn off the gene activity, and reverse the effect of the signal.
Good work, Ensign.
Lieutenant,
the other question,
Captain.
I was talking about Ensign Coldrick, who helped us out in chat.
Yes, that too.
The other question that I had was, we saw that the nanites acted as like a signal booster. At any stage during the progression of this illness, do individual people act as signal boosters? Ooh. That was my second question.
As part of your simulations,
with to take the nanites out of the equation, do the progression on its own. Do the people give off the same sort of signal that the nanites do? Because it might give us better tracking.
Yes, they do. In fact, it creates a You run a couple of simulations, including one where you have multiple people who are infected, and they develop at least some form of telepathic communication that rides that signal.
There it is. So it looks like not only are they suggestible, they're also the people that do the suggesting. At the very least, they help relay the signal.
This indicates a positive feedback loop in the process.
Almost a little bit of perpetual motion. Go ahead, Doctor.
Oh, I was agreeing. Sorry about that.
I just saw Wi-Fi hotspot in chat, and I just...
Yeah,
That's what I was laughing at. I was like, Coldrake, you're a trip.
Coldrake's for real been like really good in chat, and like has been
Seriously.
like doing lore drops and everything too. I think he was also in, or they were also in my Star Trek game as well, and like will like give you facts, and as it goes through, like they'll handle all your lore for you.
I love it.
Thank you, Coldrake, for being a part of this and keeping us honest. And making us laugh once in a while.
I want them on my Star Trek trivia team.
Yes.
Real.
Probably give my dad a run for his money. All right. Are there any further questions that you want answered or can get answered?
Those were the
right
questions
now?
that I had. If anybody else wants to ask things, we still have a whole buttload of momentum.
Yes.
I think I'm okay for now because that was enough to give me the advantage I needed to come up with a solution for our impacted crew.
Okay.
But Doctor, do you have any questions?
I am still wondering if we can use the nanoprobes to deflect the signal. I would still like to be able to work on that, because then we would have an immediate way of prevention as well as possible treatment for the people in the brig.
Yes, Doctor.
Also,
it is better to be proactive than reactive.
Yes.
There was a suggestion that Lieutenant Chapre, I believe you came up with earlier, was creating some sort of inverse sine wave. Now that we know the frequency that this acts on, would we be able to? I think we still might need that extra little bit of technology, but there might be a way to create an inverse signal that cancels it out, or potentially. Is the signal electrical in nature? If it is, then we could perhaps construct some kind of Faraday cage. Sorry, my science took over for a second. It's all very interesting. If we weren't in dire danger, it would actually make a very fascinating paper.
Well,
yes.
We will of course keep records and publish at a later date.
There's a science conference in someone's future. Yes. Well, we can try the sine waves, and we should be able, if we can do that, we should be able to completely realign the deflector array so that the ship's shields actually block the signal. So we would be safe as a ship, not just individually. So if we can do that, we would be ensuring that we would no longer be susceptible to the fold.
That would very much help us. All right. Excellent work today, folks.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that is a good place to wrap up. This has been a fantastic session. I love watching this crew work together. It's just It's fun. It's so much fun. Thank you to our amazing audience for sticking with us and for keeping us so entertained, especially Coldrake and Cold Spider for all your contributions.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I still have like 2+2s as well. So I'm going to have to use them soon.
And use them, bring the drama.
But I didn't have to this session because everything was just like really tense and exciting. So
we brought the drama this time.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But thank you to our audience. That ends our session for tonight. I have been your Game Mistress Winter. You can find me at gmistresswinter on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And over at my channel, Mistress Winter's Court, on Monday nights, where we reclaim Monday nights with a Pathfinder 2nd Edition campaign that I absolutely love running as well. How about you, Juicy?
Hi, I'm Juicy Garland, a Boston area drag queen, most of the time. You can find me on Twitter at Juicy Garland, one word, and you can find me on Instagram at juicy.garland. You can find me on Fridays on this same channel playing Cyberpunk Red at, 7 p.m.? I don't know, time's an illusion. In the evenings, tomorrow. Follow my Twitter, you'll find it. And then if you are in the Boston area, I'm performing on Monday at Jacques Cabaret at MT's Drag Stroll. So that's a fun time too. So
Nice.
Have a great weekend.
Break a leg on that.
I'll try not, but I'll do my best.
Well, I mean, yeah. All right, Jesse.
Hello, I'm just Jessie D. Thanks so much for watching. This has been another episode of Sherlock Does Dr. House in Space. I've dropped my socials in the chat, so it's just Jessie D on Hive or just Jessie D on Tumblr. Find me, chat with me. Love to hang out.
Awesome. And Anita.
Hello, everybody. I'm Anita, otherwise known as Panita or Critical Misses. You can find me everywhere online at Panita or at Critical Misses. I'm a TTRPG streamer, graphic designer, producer, kind of just do a little bit of everything.
All the hats.
I wear very many hats. You can find me tomorrow over on Gen Con TV for Table Takes Game Night. I believe we're playing poetry for Neanderthals, which is going to be a fun time. And then after that, you can find me over on my channel on Critical Misses. I'll be GMing a brand new show. It's called The Growing of the Dim. Well, it's not brand new. It's kind of an anthology series that we've done. And this time we're doing a little bit of Weird West. And I'm very excited to play with the crew that we've got going. And very excited to tell more stories. Also, Saturdays, I'm on my channel again for Morning Ritual, which is a TTRPG talk show. We're talking with Werewolf Fields this week. And then on Sundays, you can find me over on Pluto Cleric's channel for a Starfinder game called The Weird Frontier. That's been a blast so far. I play a little old lady that is the heart and soul of the crew and also somehow manages to wrangle all of these squabbling crewmates like her little children. That's it. That's all. That's me.
I love that.
Thank you so much.
Agnes is a sweetheart.
And Twisted.
Yes, Twisting Curses. Pardon me, I just got a very dry throat there. Twisting Curses on Discord. And man, that was a great episode. That was so much fun. Thank you to everybody for watching, and I'm looking forward to next week. Take care.
Fantastic. Well, we hope you will return to Cybernation Uncensored next Thursday for the next session of Star Trek Adventures Flight Beyond the Veil. Everybody, until then, have a great weekend and a great week. Bye-bye now.
Long and prosper.
Bye.
Cybernation Uncensored.